When you enter into a romantic relationship, you have the intention of giving your all, but in doing so, you slowly begin to lose yourself. You compromise your needs, silence your voice, and reshape your identity to fit your partner's expectations, all while believing that love means sacrifice. The real issue? You never realize the importance of putting yourself first. Without a strong sense of self worth and boundaries, you prioritize the relationship over your own well being, confusing self abandonment with loyalty. Over time, your identity becomes wrapped entirely around the relationship, and you forget who you were before love entered the picture. The truth is, a healthy relationship doesn't require you to lose yourself. It requires you to know yourself. When you put yourself first, you create space for love that enhances your life, not one that consumes it. I will admit, I am one of those people who had lost themselves in a relationship because I didn't know better, and I didn't know that I matter more than my past partners. The outcome of it didn't serve me. However, if you are curious to know why people lose themselves and their identity, and what can you do to stay you when you are in a romantic relationship, keep listening because you don't want to miss this episode. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of yours truly. It is I, your one and only host, Druelee, of course. It's been a minute since I did my last episode. I always say that, but I feel like it's been a bit longer. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm not keeping track, but for me, I feel like it's been a while since I've did an episode. Hopefully you guys didn't wait too long. And I hope that you guys are enjoying the episodes that I am posting for you guys. Hoping that it's entertaining you guys and it's educating you guys, whatever it is. I hope that my episodes are benefiting you in whatever way. Okay, but based on the introduction, I am going to pretty much talk about the importance of making sure that you yourself, your identity matters, even if you are entering into a romantic relationship or have been in one for a while now, okay? But I just want to give you guys a little bit of background on as to why I wanted to do this topic. So in my present life, I have shifted my lifestyle to where I want to do more by growing and loving myself and the life that I'm currently living. I am reminding myself daily to always make sure that I'm doing well or even better than I did the day before. I am always striving to improve myself during my single era. If and when I do get myself into another relationship, I still want to continue to pour love and be authentically me. In the past relationships that I was in, I do have to say that I lost myself and my identity because I didn't know better at that time. Although the partners that I was with matter, however, I did neglect to see that I too matter as well. Growing up in the Hmong culture and the Christian religion, it did make me become that person where I was supposed to please others. I'm supposed to put others first before me, pretty much forget my feelings, needs, and wants. Trying to do things to please others and doing things for the sake of others made me forget that my voice, opinions, disagreements, and intuitions do matter. In my previous episode, most likely the beginning of my podcast, I did talk to you guys about my past relationship and a part of why things did not go well in my end because once I entered that relationship, my identity and life were revolved around him. Now that I know better and I have done tons of research as to listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, and reading books, I am more knowledgeable about the importance of making sure that I am important in any relationships I get in. It is hard to be romantic relationships, but relationships within my families, friends, social settings, and so forth. So, on this episode, I'll be talking specifically on the importance of making sure you are still yourself, even though you've entered a romantic relationship or have been in one for a while now. So, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into today's episode. What if I told you that the best kind of love doesn't ask you to lose yourself, but challenges you to stay rooted in exactly who you are? It's a beautiful thing to fall in love. The butterflies, the late night talks, the feelings of being seen. You guys, I've been there, okay? The feeling feels great. But somewhere along the line, many people start doing something they don't even realize. They slowly begin to disappear inside the relationship. They cancel plans with friends. They stop doing things they used to love doing. They adjust their personality, their opinions, and even their dreams just to make it work. And before you know it, they're not just in love, they're lost. But here's the truth: a romantic relationship should be an addition to your life, not the definition of it. Your identity, your values, passions, friendships, goals is what makes you you. And that version of you, that's who your partner fell in love with in the first place. So, why is it important to maintain your own life and identity, even in love? Because when you lose yourself, you give up your power. You start making decisions based on what they want. You second guess your voice just to avoid conflict. You measure your worth by the health of the relationship, not by how connected you are to yourself. And when that happens, even the strongest love starts to feel suffocating because deep down, you know you're not showing up as your full, authentic self. Having your own life means you continue to chase your dreams. You make time for your friends, passions, and personal growth. You set boundaries that protect your peace. You love someone without forgetting how to love yourself. And guess what? The healthiest relationships are built between two whole people, not two halves trying to complete each other, but two complete individuals choosing to grow side by side. So, no, it's not selfish to keep your independence. It's not too much to have goals that don't involve your partner. And it's not wrong to want space, time, and energy that's just for you. In fact, that's where the real magic happens. Because when you hold on to your identity, you bring the best version of yourself to the relationship, clear, confident, and deeply connected to your own worth. You are not just someone's partner, you are a whole person. And the right relationship won't ask you to forget that. It will celebrate it. Two main questions that I will be diving deep into on this episode, which is, why do you lose yourself and your identity when you enter a romantic relationship? And what can you do to stay you? I will be going over in depth so that you can use these tips to recenter yourself. That way, you will know how important it is to not lose yourself, even if you are in a relationship. So, let's start with the first question. Why do you lose yourself and your identity when you pretty much enter into a romantic relationship? You often lose yourself because you confuse love with self sacrifice. So instead of seeing a relationship as something that should enhance your life, you begin to shape your identity around your partner. And this usually stems from deep rooted fears, such as fear of being alone, fear of rejection, or a need for external validation. To go more in depth on this question, I'm going to break into 5 main points that I found as to why you tend to lose yourself when you enter into a relationship. The first one is you lack self identity before the relationship. You enter the relationship without a strong sense of self identity to begin with. And when you don't fully know who you are, your values, passions, boundaries, and purpose, it's easy to mold yourself around your partner's life, preferences, and needs. Instead of bringing your whole self into the relationship, You begin to absorb the identity of the other person, which you adopt into their interests, opinions, routines, and even goals. At first, it feels like you are connecting with them, but over time, it becomes a codependency thing where your sense of worth and direction is tied entirely into the relationship. Without a foundation of self awareness and self worth, you tend to overgive, overadapt, and overlook your own needs, believing that love means becoming whatever the other person wants. So, the results of that, a slow erosion of identity and eventually a feeling of being lost, even when the relationship is still intact. True love doesn't require self abandonment. That's why building a solid relationship within yourself first is crucial before building one with someone else. Number two, you people please and have a deep fear of conflict. You become so focused on keeping your partner happy and avoiding tension that you begin to suppress your own needs, opinions, and desires. Over time, you start saying yes when you mean no, staying silent when something bothers you, and sacrificing parts of who you are just to maintain peace. This constant self silencing leads to a disconnect with your authentic self. You may not even recognize how much you've changed until you feel drained, resentful, or emotionally invisible. The fear of rocking the boat of being rejected convinces you that love means not making waves. But in reality, it means honest communication and mutual respect. To stay true to yourself, you must learn that healthy relationships can handle disagreement and that being authentic is far more valuable than being agreeable. You can't fully be loved if you are not fully being you. Number three, your romantic idolization. We all have that. I think a lot of us women have that. Speaking on behalf of me, okay. You have the belief that love should be all consuming, perfect, and without boundaries, right? Influenced by the movies that we watch, books that we read, and cultural narratives, you enter relationships thinking your partner should complete you, or that becoming one means emerging your entire identity with someone else. In this mindset, you start prioritizing the relationships above all else. You will then abandon your own goals, your hobbies, and values just to fit the idea of what a perfect partner should be. You mistake self sacrifice for devotion, thinking that love means always compromising, always agreeing, and never putting yourself first. But over time, you become emotionally dependent, tying your self worth and happiness entirely to the relationship. And when love becomes your only identity, losing it or even struggling in it can feel like losing yourself. Number four, you overgive without boundaries. Driven by a deep desire to be loved, accepted, or needed, you constantly pour into your partner, that is, emotionally, mentally, or physically, without ever pausing to ask, what about me? You mistake overgiving for love, thinking that the more you do, the more worthy you'll be. But without clear boundaries, you end up neglecting your own needs, saying yes when you mean to say no, and you prioritize your partner's happiness over your own well being. Over time, this self neglect leads to burnout. It results in resentment and a loss of personal identity. You may start to feel invisible, unappreciated, or even trapped in a cycle of giving without receiving. True love doesn't require you to constantly sacrifice yourself. It requires balance, mutual respect, and self awareness. You deserve to be in a relationship where your love is valued, not drained. And that starts with setting boundaries that protects your peace without dimming your light. And then lastly, number five, societal and cultural condition. The deep-rooted message you've been taught about what love, general, and self-worth should look like. For example, okay, in the Hmong culture, we were taught, especially us Hmong women, we were taught to Learn how to cook and clean, cater to a husband and a husband's family. Depending on what culture you came from, might be the same concept. But usually, from a young age, society often tells you that to be loved, you must give endlessly, sacrifice quietly, and put others before ourselves, especially in romantic or family relationships. In many cultures, this is even more pronounced, with expectations that a good partner, particularly a woman, should be selfless, accommodating, and devoting to others, even at the expense of her own happiness. Over time, you internalize these beliefs. You will then begin to equate love with self abandonment, thinking that saying no, setting boundaries, or prioritizing your needs is selfish or wrong. Instead of showing up as your authentic self, you become who you believe you're supposed to be, often losing your voice, dreams, and individuality in the process. This conditioning can make it difficult to even recognize that anything is wrong. You may feel unfulfilled or invisible, but blame yourself rather than the outdated beliefs shaping your behavior. All in all, you lose yourself in a relationship when you don't realize that you can love someone deeply without abandoning yourself. Real love, okay, you guys, real love isn't about losing your identity. It's about being seen, valued, and supported for exactly who you are. So those are just the main 5 points that I wanted to discuss with you guys, and that I do see that it is very important to understand why you or anybody that you know may lose yourself or lose your identity just because you've been in this new relationship, this new romantic relationship, or you are currently in one. To just remember that those are just one of the common reasons why you lose yourself. And in order to pick yourself back up and to remind yourself the importance of staying true to yourself and be you, the next question that I want to dive deep into is, what can you do to stay you in a romantic relationship? And this is a great question to discuss just because when it comes down to it, love should never cost you your identity. In a healthy relationship, you shouldn't have to shrink, bend, or erase part of yourself just to keep the peace or make someone happy. The best kind of love supports your growth while you stay grounded in who you are. And here's how you should do that. And I have 6 main points that I want to go in depth with you guys. So let's go ahead and start with the first one. How you can stay true to yourself is, first and foremost, you have to know yourself first. What if I told you that the secret to becoming your true self in a romantic relationship, it actually starts before the relationships even begin? And here is the truth. You can't be yourself with someone else until you truly know yourself first. And what do I mean by that? You get into relationships hoping to be loved, right? But yet you don't know who you are, what your needs are, what your wants are, or where you're going when it comes to being in that relationship. And without that clarity, it's easy to actually lose your identity trying to fit into someone else's. So before you can stay true to yourself, you actually have to know who you are. And again, what are your values? What are your passion, goals, the non-negotiables? It could be all that in your life, in partnership, in marriage, or whatever it is. What does happiness looks like to you outside of a relationship? The more self-aware you are, the easier it is for you to show up in love without losing yourself. So that's like the main important part about what you can do to stay yourself, and that is to know yourself first before you actually get into a relationship, okay? Second one would be maintain your own life outside of the relationship. You have to maintain your own life outside the relationship. Your passion, your friendships, your goals keeps you connected to yourself, and that's the version of you your partner fell for in the first place. When you protect your independence, you bring your best self to the relationship. You're more confident, fulfilled, and more whole. Make time for the things that make you feel alive by, like I said, hanging out with your friends and families, pursuing your hobbies and your interests, or keep working towards your personal goals. Your world shouldn't revolve around your partner. It should include them, not be defined by them. And then number three, you want to set healthy boundaries. So, by setting healthy boundaries in a romantic relationship isn't about being distant or difficult. It's more about being real. It's how you protect your peace, honor your needs, and stay connected to who you truly are. When you set boundaries, you're not pushing your partner away, you're inviting them to love the real you, the you who has limits, the you who has standards, and the you who isn't afraid to speak up. Because here is the truth: love without boundaries turns into self abandonment. But love with boundaries, that's where trust, respect, and freedom thrive. Being yourself in a relationship doesn't mean giving up pieces of you. It means standing up in your own truth and knowing the right person will never ask you to leave it behind. Boundaries are not walls, they're lines that protects your peace. Say no when something doesn't feel right. Speak up when your needs aren't being met. Honor your time, energy, and space. And a partner who truly respects you will respect your boundaries too. Number four, you want to communicate authentically. In a world where so many people hide their feelings to keep the peace, authentic communication is a radical act of self love and real love. When you speak your truth, your fears, your dreams, your boundaries, you give your partner a chance to love the real you, not just a version of what you built to please. Being yourself in a relationship means saying what you mean, even when it's uncomfortable. It means trusting that your voice matters and that vulnerability isn't weakness, it's connection. Because a relationship built on silence can't survive, but a relationship built on honesty, that's where trust, growth, and intimacy comes to life. Don't be afraid to speak up, open your mouth, communicate. Your truth is not too much. It's exactly what real love needs. Don't hide part of yourself just to avoid conflict or gain approval. Be honest about what you feel, want, and believe. Share your thoughts, even if it's different from your partner's. Stay true to your voice. It's how your partner learns the real you. And then number five, keep growing as an individual. When you are in a romantic relationship, it's easy to fall into the idea that once you find your person, you are complete, you are done, the end. You're not going to grow, right? But real love doesn't stop your growth, it actually inspires it. Being yourself in a relationship means continuing to evolve. That is, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. It means chasing your dreams, nurturing your passions, and becoming the person you're meant to be. You need to read more, learn more, explore more, challenge yourself, and try new things. Become the best version of you, and not just the best partner, because the healthiest relationships aren't made of two people stuck in one place. They're made of two individuals who are growing side by side, cheering each other on while staying true to themselves. Love shouldn't hold you back, it should hold your hand while you rise. And just because you're in love doesn't mean you stop evolving. I've seen a lot where people tend to stop growing and they're still the same person. And this is super important. There will be a different experiences that you will go through or different phases in your life that you will go through, and you'll have to either change for the better. And it's important that although you're in that relationship, you still have to grow. You could either grow together or grow apart, but being in that relationship shouldn't stop you from growing and becoming the best version of yourself. And lastly, number 6, you need to do regular self check-ins. It's easy to get caught up in love. For those who've been caught up in love, y'all know that it does consume us a lot, okay? But making your partner happy, keeping the relationship strong, but in the process, you forget to ask yourself, am I being me? Are my needs being met? Am I showing up honestly or just going with the flow to keep the peace? By doing regular self check ins, it actually helps you to stay connected to your values, your boundaries, and your emotional well being. It reminds you that your voice matters, your feelings are valid, and your identity shouldn't disappear in love. And because the healthiest relationship don't ask you to lose yourself, they give you the space to find yourself over and over again. So pause, reflect, reconnect. Your relationship with yourself is just as important as the one you have with them. Take your time to ask yourself, am I being me in this relationship? Am I making choices that align with my values and goals? Do I feel seen and respected for who I truly am? And if the answer is no to majority of these questions you're asking yourself, it might be time to readjust. Not the relationship, okay, but adjust yourself and the way you're showing up in it. So just the final thoughts for this piece right here. The key to staying you in a relationship is very, very simple, you guys. Learn to love yourself enough to never disappear just for love. When you show up as your full, unapologetic self, you give your partner the chance to love the real you. And that's the kind of love that will last forever. So, yeah, you guys, that is all I have for these points that I wanted to give you guys. All these things that I have shared with you are things that I want to and I need to do when I, in the future, get myself into a new relationship. It is super important to understand, and I'm going to repeat myself, okay? It is important to understand that if you are going to be in a romantic relationship, it's either now or in the future, make sure that you don't lose yourself. Because let me tell you guys, if you guys haven't listened to my earlier episodes on this podcast, I touch base or I mentioned my experience of my previous relationship. I want to call it my cultural marriage. And it didn't go in my favor because there's numerous of things that happen. But I think one of the main issues that I had to deal with was I got into that relationship not knowing myself, not knowing what I truly want. And throughout that relationship, I lost myself. And when I am living my life and living life with this person, it revolves a lot with what he got going on in his life. For those who are listening, I don't want you guys to get to the point where you meet someone and then you drop everything in your life. You drop everything in your life to become that person. And it's so weird in a way because right after I left that relationship, I began to do things that I should have done 10 years ago, which is weird, okay? When I was in that relationship, I stopped going to nail school. I stopped working out. I stopped eating healthy. Every time when I address any concerns or any issues that I have an issue with, or just telling how I'm feeling, a lot of the times those things were rejected or not reciprocated to where I couldn't communicate authentically or I couldn't tell my partner what I'm feeling and I shut myself down. And even if I did voice those concerns and voice my emotions at that time, again, it wasn't reciprocated. And when all that happens, a lot of resentment built up and things didn't work out. So if you guys really want to know what have happened, just go to the beginning of my podcast. You guys will definitely hear it. As of now, because of that relationship, it has taught me so much. And the main thing that it has definitely taught me is to always choose myself. Always remember that that relationship is not the main importance in your life. The main important person in your life that you need to focus on is yourself. You have to love yourself. You have to be a whole person first. If you are listening to this episode and you are in a relationship and you are not doing what you need to do to love yourself, to know yourself, and you are giving all your life to your partner, you're doing it wrong. If you are just in a relationship to use and abuse another person for your own benefit, why are you in a relationship? Why are you creating broken homes? Why are you throwing your baggages to other people to carry? You need to carry those baggages yourself. You need to solve those personal issues of yours yourself. And it sucks that some people, they don't see that because they are in their Delulu land. They are wanting love, but the love that they need most is the love within themselves. That's the key, you guys. It all starts with you. If you are not doing what it takes to work on yourself, to become the best version of yourself, to go into traumas, childhood traumas that you've experienced, you're not willing to go through that and dive deep into the issues that you have within yourself, do not be in a relationship. For what? All you're doing is causing more problems. You are creating families or creating kids that are not meant to be in this world. But yet you're doing that, so what? So that your kids, the next generation, your partner is going to deal with your issues. You may think that you can get away with it, but sooner or later, the issues that you have within yourself is going to catch up to you. And by the time you know it, the people that you thought that was going to be with you, they're not going to be there for the rest of your life. There's going to be a lot of resentment, a lot of hatred, a lot of negative energy, a lot of things that will not go your way. And that's why I choose to be single for so long, because I know that in order for me to have a successful relationship, a healthy relationship, I really want a healthy relationship, it has to start with me. If I'm not healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, healthy in all of those, then what makes you think that I will be healthy in a romantic relationship? I'm not going to. I'd rather be a whole person. I may not be perfect, but every day when I'm living, when I'm still alive, I want to keep growing. I want to keep learning. I truly do want to be the best version of myself. And if I do that and I have another person in my life, even better. If he is a whole person and he is doing the work on himself to improve, that's even better. That's like double the power right there. Okay. But yeah, my main message here is just love yourself. Don't ever lose yourself when you are in a relationship. Most importantly, in order for you to actually get into a romantic relationship, you have to start loving yourself. Okay, that's just my main takeaway of this episode. I will definitely do a post on this as well. That way, for those who wants to read and get more information, I'll definitely have that available. I'm going to end this episode because if not, I'm going to start rambling and y'all going to be bored. Okay. So all in all, I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I hope that you guys learn something. Like I said, love yourself first, push yourself first. If you're not okay, stop doing things for other people, start doing things for yourself. And no, it's not selfish. There's a difference between being that selfish and being that selfish, okay? And if you guys want me to do a separate, I don't know, episode on knowing the difference, I will definitely do that. But until then, thanks to everyone who's been listening throughout my podcast. And for those who are just joining, thank you for the support. And as always, you guys can reach out to me, or you guys can go through my social media on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and my website at yourstrolly.com. And all in all, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.